You're watching Alabama Broadcasters Station of the Year. Coverage you can count on. WAAY 31 Morning News starts now.
An escaped inmate who was recaptured in Tennessee is back on the run. What we know about his latest escape.
Twice in a month. Plus, the U.S. Supreme Court striking down a century-old restriction on concealed guns this morning. What this decision now means. Well, thank you so much for joining us for WAAY 31 Midday News. I'm Chris Tatum.
And I'm Alex Torres-Perez. Now, the search is on for an inmate who was just recaptured earlier this month.
Yeah, Tennessee investigators need your help right now to find that inmate. They say he escaped from a mental health facility in Chattanooga, Tennessee. They say Johnny Lewis Payne actually walked right out of that facility Saturday. Well, investigators just recaptured him earlier this month after he escaped from a South Alabama prison-related facility.
And a convicted Colbert County killer on death row is in court right now pleading for his life. Thomas Dale Ferguson is trying to get what a Mobile County jury recommended, his punishment to be life in prison. But the judge overrode that and gave him the death penalty. Ferguson is one of 5 men convicted of killing a father and son back in 1997, then dumping their bodies in a creek. The victim's family says that they're still looking for closure more than 2 decades later.
He belongs on the death row. We shouldn't be doing this however many years later.
Now, we do have a reporter in that courtroom in Atlanta right now. We'll have an update on what happened in the courtroom on WAAY 31 News this evening.
Well, the man charged with killing 3 people at a Birmingham area church is making his first court appearance today. A judge will arraign Robert Smith on 3 counts of capital murder and ask him for a plea. Prosecutors say Smith shot those people 1 week ago during a potluck dinner at St. Stephen's Episcopal Church in the Vestavia Hills community. Witnesses say he sat by himself at that dinner and started shooting when other people invited him to join them. Well, family and friends getting ready to lay the 3rd of those victims to rest today. Jane Pound's funeral happened at St. Stephen's Episcopal Church, again, the very church where she died. Funerals for the other 2 victims happened yesterday at that church. Talk about a beautiful summer day across North Alabama. You are right now taking a live look over Huntsville. This is the view from our WAAY 31 Sky Camera Network. That heat, though, still sticking around. I don't know about you, it's looked hot to me.
Absolutely.
Just in that picture.
I think it's day 12 of these hot temperatures.
I know. So Carson's starting to sound like a parrot.
Yeah.
It's hot. It's hot.
Same thing over and over and over again, guys.
We need to hear it.
Yeah, we do need to hear it. Just got to take it easy again outside. Look at these temperatures here at 11 o'clock. Now, most of us are still in the upper 80s. We're talking 88 degrees in Athens, 89 in Decatur, but you also notice some lower 90s in there, like Huntsville, where we're already up to 93 at the airport, also 93 in Muscle Shoals, 91 in Scottsboro, 90 down in Gadsden, and I do expect everybody at the next update at the top of the hour to be in the lower 90s. We are dry across the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Early Warning Radar Network. We will stay dry today, and there is a cold front moving through. Trust me, there is a cold front. It's just very weak. It has no rain chances with it, and well, it's not going to bring much of a cool down either. So over the next 3 hours heading out to lunch, I have bumped up our forecast high to 97 later on today. Factor in that direct sunlight. It could feel as hot as 103 later on this afternoon. Here's what I'm tracking for you in your weather headlines. This long stretch of heat not going anywhere. Close to 100, yes, but not quite getting to that century mark. We'll talk more about this heat as well as a stormy setup for Sunday and Monday in a few minutes.
Thank you, Carson. New at midday, a grand jury indicted a man after a deadly hit and run. Matthew Dabbs is facing several charges, including manslaughter, assault, and leaving the scene of an accident. Court records show he hit and killed a motorcyclist. Dabbs is set to appear in court in DeKalb County in August. Now, this man, Nicholas Olderbig, is in jail after barricading himself in a home for hours. It happened last night off Shoreline Drive in Madison County. Deputies were called there because of an unwanted guest, and when they arrived, officials say Olderbig fired a shot in front of officers and then locked himself inside of someone else's home. Negotiators were able to talk him down, and thankfully no one was hurt when he was arrested. He's now facing several charges, including harassment, violating a domestic violence protection order, and reckless endangerment, to name a few.
Well, the president of a local rescue squad in jail right now, accused of stealing money from that squad. Franklin County investigators arrested Pete Bracken Jr. earlier this week and charged him with theft of property. They say he stole more than $13,000 from the Franklin County Rescue Squad. Well, Franklin County leaders, though, say that rescue squad often asks for donations since it's no longer authorized to get taxpayer money to operate. Well, new at midday, the U.S. Supreme Court making a major expansion in gun rights.
ABC's Faith Abube goes over the ruling.
Supreme Court Thursday striking down New York's century-old restriction on concealed firearms. 6 out of the 9 justices siding with gun rights advocates in New York that the state's proper cause requirement to obtain a concealed carry license violates the Constitution. A group of New York gun owners asked the Supreme Court to establish a fundamental right to carry a handgun for self-defense outside the home. The gun rights advocates challenged a century-old New York statute that requires applicants for concealed carry permits to show proper cause or a specific special need for possessing a firearm in public places. The New York State Rifle and Pistol Association and 2 individual gun owners call the standard so high that it violates the Second Amendment. Some of the conservative justices worried that local officials have too much discretion.
Why isn't it good enough to say I live in a violent area and I want to be able to defend myself?
But New York State maintained that gun rights are not unlimited and that reasonable barriers to concealed carry are necessary for public safety. The state arguing that striking down the law would lead to more guns on the streets.
They multiply the number of firearms that are being carried in very densely populated places, and there is a much higher risk.
29 states require concealed carry permits. 8 of those, including New York, giving authorities discretion to deny permits to anyone who cannot show a special need. In the months after the High Court heard the case, there have been 2 high-profile mass shootings in New York, one in a subway car in Brooklyn, and another apparently racially motivated attack at a Buffalo supermarket, killing 10 Black Americans. And the reaction from New York Governor Kathy Hochul this afternoon is that this Supreme Court decision, quote, is sending us backwards in our efforts to protect families and prevent gun violence. At the Supreme Court, Faith Abube, ABC News.
And this morning, the Supreme Court also ruled law enforcement officers can't be sued for money damages when they don't read a suspect their Miranda rights right before questioning them.
Well, Governor Kay Ivey says suspending Alabama's gas tax now will cost taxpayers more in the future. She made that statement as President Biden announced a plan to suspend the federal gas tax through September and asked states to suspend theirs as well. Well, Congress must approve the president's plan, but Ivey says she opposes it. Well, gas prices do appear, though, to be falling lately. Right now, the average price for a gallon of regular unleaded in Alabama is about $4.54. That is lower than the national average of $4.95 a gallon. Well, the U.S. Federal Reserve is right now considering raising interest rates yet again in an effort to lower inflation. Fed Chairman Jerome Powell insists it's necessary to prevent an economic recession.
Certainly a possibility. It's not our intended outcome at all, but it's certainly a possibility.
Well, the Fed just raised interest rates by 0.75 percentage point last week. That's the biggest interest rate hike since 1994.
A community is coming together after the death of the Jackson County School Superintendent. Kevin Dukes will be laid to rest tomorrow afternoon at Section High School. His cause of death is still unclear, but Dukes was serving his 2nd term as superintendent after previously working as a principal at Skyline School. Happening today, the Rocket City is becoming the Music City.
Maybe, kind of, sort of. Got a long ways to go, though, to compete with Nashville on that front. So Huntsville's music officer, though, is hosting a public meeting at the Orion Amphitheater tonight. Starts at 6 o'clock, and the, of course, event will give folks a chance to tour that new amphitheater. I hear it's absolutely breathtaking out there. Also, folks will learn about a new program that's meant to help grow Huntsville's music scene. And I love this part, they'll even be giving away prizes at that event. So yet another public hearing on the Capitol riot set to happen today.
What we can expect this afternoon.
And temperatures in most spots already back in the lower 90s. We'll keep the sunshine around. We'll keep the heat around too. I'm tracking that is when we might have some relief coming up in a few minutes.
Coverage you can count on. You're watching WAAY 31 News with the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Early Warning Radar Network.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, this afternoon, the House Select Committee investigating the Capitol riot says it plans to bring light to former President Donald Trump's attempt to push Department of Justice leaders into furthering his efforts to overturn the 2020 election. And there will also be a public hearing this afternoon at 2 o'clock.
But the committee is also postponing this month's remaining hearings, and that's because of new evidence that's come up. ABC's Justin Finch has more from Capitol Hill.
In the lead up to the deadly Capitol attack, the January 6th committee alleges former President Trump, along with members of his inner circle, were mounting a multi-level pressure campaign to overturn his election loss.
We will hear on Thursday that Donald Trump was also the driving force behind the effort to corrupt the Justice Department.
On today's witness list, 3 top-level justice officials who say they were willing to resign their positions instead of going along with Trump's plan. With those accounts and his own evidence, the committee plans to detail allegations, including Trump pressuring the Justice Department to publicly discredit election results, and how justice officials resisted his attempts to appoint a special counsel to investigate his unproven election claims.
The American people in our hearings have heard from Bill Barr, Jeff Rosen, Richard Donahue, and many others who stood up and did what is right.
Today's hearing comes amid word the probe into January 6th is expanding.
Ultimately, fake electors did meet on December 14th, 2020 in Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New Mexico, Nevada, and Wisconsin.
ABC News has learned the Justice Department has sent new subpoenas to people from several states, including some alleged to have posed as fake electors to back Trump over Joe Biden as Congress counted electoral votes on January 6th. More on that growing investigation. The January 6th chairman says those 2 remaining hearings for June are now postponed until mid-July, giving the panel time to review hours of documentary video from a crew that was following former President Trump and members of his inner circle. Justin Finch, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
And the committee investigating that Capitol riot is stepping up to its push for Congressman Mo Brooks to testify before it.
Yeah, the committee's chair says the panel plans to actually issue Brooks a new subpoena. He's one of 4 Republicans that committee still wants to talk to. Now, Brooks has said he's willing to testify, but only in a public hearing.
And you can watch today's Capitol riot hearing live right here on WAAY 31. It's set to start at 2 this afternoon. We'll also break down what happened during that hearing this evening on WAAY 31 News.
Well, some people in Madison County are without water right now.
What's causing those outages and how soon you can expect that service to be? Well, right now, some people are without water in Madison County. Crews are making improvements to its water system. It impacts people on the west of Highway 231 and 431 from West Limestone Road to Charity Lane. The work is expected to be done by 2 this afternoon. Well, Carson, it looks like it's another hot day in the books today.
Yeah, anything you can do about that?
I can try, maybe.
Pour some water on us to cool it.
Yeah, that's all we can do. Remember the ice bucket challenge all those years ago? We might have to do something like that again. Unfortunately, we're going to be stuck in the mid to upper 90s for a few more days. Maybe a little relief next week, though. Right now, though, on the WAAY 31 Skycam network, it is sunny. And it is hot. 93 in Huntsville, 93 out in the Shoals, 91 in Guntersville, 89 degrees right now in Decatur. But you might be noticing that wind starting to pick up. And believe it or not, there is a cold front moving through as we speak. Obviously not much of a cold front, but at least it'll give us a teeny tiny bit of relief on this Thursday afternoon. This is what it feels like out there right now. It feels like 98 here in Huntsville. It feels like 95 in Decatur. It says it feels like 105 in Scottsboro, but usually this particular sensor runs a little bit hot. But you get the idea. It feels like the upper 90s to lower triple digits out there. Make sure you stay cool and stay hydrated this evening. But we are dry across the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Early Warning Radar Network. And we are going to stay dry all day. Temperatures topping out around 97 this afternoon. We may see a bit of an increase in cloud cover as well. But again, we stay dry. And going through the rest of your Thursday night, we'll be still in the upper 80s by 7 p.m. and hovering near 80 by 10 o'clock tonight. I mentioned that wind starting to pick up as that front moves through. We can see some of those wind wind gusts actually out of the north and northwest, closer to 15, maybe 20 miles per hour. And that wind will definitely keep things from getting too out of hand when it comes to those forecast highs. I'm not expecting anything in the triple digits today. Here we go with future radar Thursday, 4 o'clock this afternoon. Mix of sun and clouds, that's all. Now watch what happens by 7 this evening. If you're traveling south towards Birmingham tonight, there could be a few showers in central Alabama. Dry here at home, maybe a few showers to our south. As we go through the overnight hours, all quiet, mostly clear skies when you wake up on Friday morning. But what we'll be watching throughout the day tomorrow is a boundary of moisture, if you will, just off to our east in northern Georgia, East Tennessee. You see by 5 o'clock tomorrow night a few of those downpours near Atlanta. That particular boundary will slide westward, kind of in the opposite direction, Friday night and into Saturday, and that will set the stage for a few more pop-up showers and storms on Saturday in Sand Mountain. Just a 20% chance. Saturday is not a total washout by any means, but you see the higher rain chances by Sunday, and that comes with another cold front. The exact timing is a bit uncertain still as far as when we'll start to see those storms on Sunday, but this looks like a late Sunday afternoon into Sunday night setup. This will be a slow-moving cold front, so we will keep that chance for a few more showers and storms on Monday, but it will not be a total washout either Sunday or Monday. Rainfall totals, by the way, around a quarter to half inch in most spots. Look at the 7-day forecast. Once that front moves through Monday, the temperatures cool back down to where they should be in late June. It's still going to be warm, still going to be humid in the lower 90s, but at least next week, guys, we are not talking about those temperatures in the upper 90s and near 100 degrees.
Well, kids under 5 can now get a COVID vaccine, but many are still hesitant.
Yeah, how some lawmakers are wanting to hold off on the vaccination of infants and toddlers right now. Welcome back, everybody. 11:24 right now, and you at Midday. Top Tennessee Republicans urging the state's governor to delay the rollout of COVID shots for children. In a letter, several state House leaders say there are too many concerns for those shots for kids under 5 years old. Well, Governor Bill Lee, spokesperson, says the office is right now reviewing that letter, but did not say if it plans to delay or change the distribution plans for those vaccines, again, for children right now 5 and under. Yeah.
Yes, and they can now get those COVID vaccine shots right here in North Alabama. Now, several clinics and pharmacies are offering these shots.
Yeah, they're offering them. You can see some of them right there on your screen. In fact, several more plan to start offering those shots as soon as they get shipments of those child-sized doses of that vaccine. And of course, just a reminder, but you can also see a full list and a list we're constantly updating on our website. That is WAAYTV.com. Again, where those kids can get those shots here across North Alabama. New research right now shows COVID antibodies may not work against new Omicron subvariants. That includes antibodies built up from vaccines and from previous COVID infections. Even so, though, health leaders say those antibodies can keep people from becoming deathly sick from the virus. Well, Moderna, though, insists its booster shot does help fight those Omicron subvariants. A U.S. Food and Drug Administration committee will actually meet next week now to talk about a second booster shot for all Americans. Right now, only available for people 50 and older. I want to show you right now some of the vaccination efforts happening across Alabama since the pandemic started. According to state health leaders, more than 6 million doses of that vaccine have been given out. That's more than 60% of the nearly 10 million doses delivered to Alabama. And of that total doses given, we know of more than 840,000 were given as booster shots. So it's good to see so many people getting that shot and seeing those COVID numbers being held down right now.
Absolutely. Well, new at midday, more than 80 groups in Alabama sent Governor Kay Ivey a letter urging her to use COVID funds towards public transportation. The letter says Alabama is only one of 3 states with no state funding for public transportation. They want to invest $20 million in order to give people better access to school, work, child, and medical care. Uvalde's school police chief now on administrative leave following the massacre at a Texas elementary school.
Yeah, we go over the latest developments in that investigation into that school shooting.
You're watching Alabama Broadcasters Station of the Year. Coverage you can count on. WAAY 31 Midday News starts now.
An escaped inmate who was just recaptured in Tennessee earlier this month, back on the run. What we know about his latest escape.
Plus, millions of people still waiting for their tax returns. We go over a new report going over the progress the IRS has made.
And travel chaos as thousands of flights continue to be delayed or postponed. What's causing these disruptions? Thank you so much for staying here with us on WAAY 31 Midday News. I'm Alex Torres-Perez.
Yes, you are indeed. By the way, I'm Chris Tatum. We're going to start right now with a look at that weather. We have storm tracker meteorologist Carson Meredith here to help us do that. And Carson, I'm getting pretty good at predicting the weather. It's hot out there.
Yeah, it is hot out there. Good job, Tatum. Yeah, we are already in the low to mid 90s here at 11:30. 93, that's the popular number. Huntsville, Muscle Shoals, Scottsboro, all at that mark, and it's not even noon yet. Decatur still in the upper 80s, 89, but I guarantee you we'll be in the low 90s here at the next update in about 20 minutes. Fortunately, though, there is a cold front moving through as we speak, and that is going to keep our temperatures from warming up too much further for the rest of your Thursday afternoon. Even so, I think we'll top out in the upper 90s. Here's your weather on the go, hour by hour with our WAAY 31 Storm Tracker weather app. Download this app completely free. You get this forecast in the palm of your hand. 97 is our forecast high today. Still warm if you have any Thursday night plans, but tolerable thanks to a nice wind out of the north and northeast. 91 degrees by 6 o'clock tonight and in the mid 70s as we get towards midnight. Your threat tracker for the next 3 days is yellow across the board. We will keep those temperatures in the mid to upper 90s, but we do have higher rain chances as we close out the weekend, and that's what I'm tracking for you in your 7-day coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, we thank you so much, Carson, for that. Well, right now, the search is on again for an inmate who recently was recaptured in Tennessee. I want to look at your screen right now. Investigators looking for Johnny Lewis Payne. They say he walked out of a mental health facility in Chattanooga, Tennessee Saturday. He had been there just a day, they say, when he walked out of that place. He had just, as I said, been recaptured earlier this month after he'd escaped from a prison-based facility in South Alabama. Now, he is actually from Jackson County. He was sentenced in 2018 to 20 years in prison for receiving stolen property. If you do see this man, call police.
New information, Uvalde School Police Chief Pete Arredondo is now on administrative leave. This move comes weeks after the massacre at Robb Elementary, where 19 students and 2 teachers were killed. ABC's Alexis Christophorus has the latest.
30 days after the horrific events at Robb Elementary School and under mounting pressure from the community, the Uvalde School District placing Chief Pete Arredondo on administrative leave. Superintendent Hal Harrell writing in part, because of the lack of clarity that remains and the unknown timing of when I will receive the results of the investigations, I have made the decision to place Chief Arredondo on administrative leave effective on this date. But some think administrative leave doesn't go far enough and are calling for Arredondo's resignation. The state's top public safety chief, Stephen McGraw, saying as the incident commander during the mass shooting, Arredondo had no radio to communicate with dispatchers, adding that Uvalde police could have stopped the deadly attack 3 minutes after it began. State Senator Roland Gutierrez filing a lawsuit Wednesday against the Texas Department of Public Safety, accusing state troopers of not being transparent.
I asked him how many DPS troopers were in that hallway. After last week, they suggested there were none, called me a liar. He had to confirm that there was 12 in that hallway, in and out. They didn't even stick around long enough to figure out what was going on in that hallway.
The search for answers leaving grieving family members angry and frustrated. Texas Congressman Joaquin Castro publicly accusing Governor Greg Abbott of a cover-up.
They're refusing to release almost any information to the families or to the public and the press about what happened, even though it looks pretty clear that the Department of Public Safety is selectively leaking information to different media outlets.
State lawmakers now urging Governor Abbott to hold a special legislative session to discuss changes to current gun laws. Today in Austin, there will be more testimony about what happened in Uvalde, and we understand today's hearing will be open to the public, and victims' families are expected to testify. Alexis Christophorus, ABC News, New York.
Heartbreaking story all the way around.
And along with the calls for the police chief's resignation, many in the community are calling for Arredondo to testify publicly after doing so behind closed doors for nearly 5 hours.
Well, a new report shows the IRS may be making progress in processing a backlog of tax returns. Last year's tax returns. Yeah, the Taxpayer Advocate reports shows IRS workers could finish processing 2020 returns by the end of the month. Then they'll get to work on 2021 paper returns. We're talking now about the ones you filed just a couple of months ago. This year, that study actually shows some taxpayers are waiting more than 6 months to get those refunds. And with folks struggling the way they are in this economy,
it
that's
must
a big
be
deal.
tough. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the American dream is out of reach for millions of Americans. Harvard University's housing report found that in the last year, about 4 million renters did not have the income needed to qualify for a home. The annual income needed to get a mortgage was $28,000 higher in April versus the same time last year. And that's partly because of the monthly payments for mortgages, property tax, and insurance all going up this year. Experts say the record run-up in home prices and rising interest rates are also making the situation worse.
Well, a rough start to summer travel season. Airlines canceled more than 1,000 flights yesterday and another 3,400 delayed. CNN's Pete Muntean goes over what's causing those disruptions.
It is an expensive summer of travel stress at airports worldwide, with airlines struggling with staffing shortages and schedule meltdowns.
Now we're stranded.
Gianna Morales' $1,000 flight to a beauty pageant was canceled, only to rebook on a different flight that was also canceled. From Thursday to Monday, airlines in the U.S. canceled more than 5,400 flights.
Makes me not want to travel at all. Going no airplanes, nothing.
New analysis from travel site Hopper says flight cancellations have jumped 34% in the last month. Domestic ticket prices are up too, by 18% since 2019. Even still, passengers are packing planes. Last weekend, the TSA screened more people at airports nationwide than any weekend since the start of the pandemic.
Travelers are willing to pay more, and they're willing to face potential disruptions because they really want to go on these trips that they've put off in many cases for 2 years.
Thank you very much for all being here today.
Airline CEOs lobbied Congress for $50 billion in pandemic aid to keep workers on the job. Even still, airlines got smaller, offering employees early out and retirement packages.
I'm tremendously angry.
Airline consumer advocate Bill McGee says airlines are not keeping up their end of the deal. Southwest and Delta pilots have picketed to say they are overworked. Airlines insist they are hiring hundreds of new workers each month while dealing with storms and air traffic control issues.
I've never seen a meltdown of this proportion. The fact is the airlines still refuse to own this.
Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg has told airline CEOs to stress test their schedules and add customer service staff with July 4th travel on the horizon. AAA forecasts 47.9 million Americans will travel for the holiday, but a shrinking share will take to the skies.
You can't ignore, we've had 6 months of constant stories of delays, cancellations, bad weather, long lines, frustration, and somebody may decide, you know what, I think it's easier for me just to hop in the car and go this year.
And by the way, United Airlines CEO Scott Kirby says airlines need new federal help to fight flight cancellations. He wants the FAA to hire more air traffic controllers. Now, the FAA insists it's appropriately staffed right now, so the agency says it's right now moving controllers around the country to deal with bottlenecked areas that are causing stalls and getting those flights off the ground.
Well, Huntsville City Schools wants to hire you. It's hosting a job fair today. It starts at 4 o'clock at the Huntsville High School Freshman Academy. That's off Billy Watkins Street. Representatives from schools and departments across the district will be there looking for the best candidates. Meanwhile, the Department of Labor will release new unemployment numbers today. The last report showed that jobless claims did fall slightly. About 229,000 people applied for unemployment benefits.
Well, the NBA draft set to take place tonight.
The hopes for one Auburn star player has for tonight.
Still tracking those high temperatures around 96 or 97 through Sunday. But you see that cool down by Monday? That comes with another cold front that brings some rain. We'll have the details coming up in a few minutes.
Welcome back, everybody. Time right now, 11:42. And tonight, the 2022 NBA draft starts.
And Auburn fans, I know, are super excited to find out if their star forward, Jabari Smith, can go #1 overall to go to the Orlando Magic.
Jabari.
Well, this past season, in case you have your doubts, this past season, Jabari Smith was a second-team All-American, first-team All-SEC player, and SEC freshman of the year. So, I mean, I don't know what else
he tearing it up on
qualifies
the
him.
court.
Well, head coach Bruce Pearl actually described the forward as one of the best players he's ever coached.
When I saw him compete at the Battle for Atlantis 3 nights in a row against, really good teams. Okay, this one here's different. This one here is different. And then all he just did was build on it, from there.
This one here is different.
Different indeed. Well, this draft does start at 7 tonight. You can watch it right here on WAAY 31. And our WAAY 31 sports team also keeping a close eye on this draft. They'll bring you those updates tonight on WAAY 31 Sports.
Well, meantime, out on the ball field, the Rocket City Trash Pans is looking to bounce back after losing in a shootout last night. The Birmingham Barons were actually able to beat the Trash Pandas 10-8. Not a huge loss, but hey, a loss is a loss.
Champions, still division champions.
So first pitch for tonight's game, by the way, 7:05. And Braves fans, listen up. You can actually get yourself a chance to see the team's World Champions trophy this weekend. The Atlanta Braves will be stopping by the Sand Mountain Park and Amphitheater in Albertville this Saturday. They'll actually be there from noon to 3, and there will also be giveaways and a chance to win a VIP sweepstake experience to Truist Park, of course, in Atlanta, as the Braves then there take on the New York Mets. That game will be October 1st. What an opportunity that is.
I know.
Well, speaking of championships, some teams are actually trying to keep their cool on the ice.
Keep it cool or bringing the heat. I'm saying bringing the heat. Well, the biggest stars in the NHL are putting on a show for the Stanley Cup Finals. Right now, Colorado Avalanche has a 2-game lead over Tampa Bay Lightning. That's after an overtime goal last night. The finals now head back to Colorado tomorrow, and you can watch that right here on WAAY 31. Puck drops at 7 Friday evening. Now here's something to add to your weekend plans. You're taking a live look over Lake Gunnersville, where powerboat racing will return this weekend. That's right, I'm talking about HydroFest. It will start on Saturday and go through Sunday. City leaders expect more than 50,000 people. Cannot with you. I've been meaning to watch this. I mean, look at that. Like, that's just amazing to me to see.
Something tells me that spray those boats are creating would feel awfully good right now.
There must be a splash zone in there.
Yeah, sound effects. Ooh.
Well, coming up, the FDA is making strides to dropping Juul products off the shelves.
Yeah, and of course, that coming up after this break. 11:47. Welcome back, everybody. Well, new at Midday, Juul, the company that makes, of course, vape products, e-cigarettes, told to pull its products off the shelf by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Federal health leaders say that decision is based on Juul's application to market its products. They say they didn't see enough evidence the company could market their vape products in a way that would protect public health. Well, Juul got a lot of attention after it was criticized for selling flavored vape products that were popular with teenagers. They stopped selling them in 2019, shortly before the FDA banned them altogether.
And new at Midday, check your fridge. A plant-based meal delivery service is recalling one of its meals. Daily Harvest says its lentil and leek crumbles have gotten at least a dozen people sick. They're working to figure out what the cause is, but some people got so sick that they had to have their gallbladders removed. The company says is asking people to not eat the food and just throw it away.
Good advice.
Absolutely. Well, I know we were talking about gardening earlier. I know you're busting out the gardening hat, and this is honestly the perfect weather.
Oh, well, yeah, I bought a big old hat because I noticed my neck got sunburned when I was out messing around in my garden the other day. So,
oh, no.
Yeah, so it is too hot to be out gardening even right now, although you have to keep them in good shape to get the food later.
I was going to say, just make sure you keep those gardens watered for the next few days. We have not had much rain to speak of the last couple of weeks, and now we're starting to get a bit more concerned about drought conditions. In fact, I'll have an update on that for you here in a couple of minutes. Let's show you what's happening once again at Lake Gunnersville, because why not? It's a beautiful day out there in Marshall County. 93 degrees now. It was 92 a second ago. Now it's up to 93. Many of us are in that low to mid 90s range as we close in on noon. We're dry on the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker early warning radar network, and there is a cold front technically moving through North Alabama as we speak. I say technically because, well, there won't be much of a cool down with today's cold front, but at least it will keep those temperatures in check today. 97 is our forecast high. We'll see those feels like temperatures hovering near 100 degrees through the rest of your Thursday afternoon. So stay cool and, of course, stay hydrated. The same advice we've been giving for the last couple of weeks. Here we go with future radar. 4 o'clock this afternoon. We are seeing some clouds on the increase as we close in on the lunch hour, but we will stay dry today. If you are going south later on tonight down towards Birmingham, central Alabama, they'll have a chance for a few of those isolated showers as that cold front continues to go towards the coastline. But here in North Alabama, we'll be completely dry. Quiet start to your Friday as well, and most of us will stay dry tomorrow too. But I want to draw your attention to what's happening in Georgia by 5 o'clock tomorrow evening. See all those showers and storms north of Atlanta? That's along a weak moisture boundary, if you will. And that boundary is going to move westward late Friday night and into Saturday. So that'll give us a chance for a few spotty downpours, particularly in Sand Mountain Saturday afternoon. Your chores outdoors heading through the weekend, we are going to keep it yellow across the board. For today and tomorrow, it's because of the heat. For Saturday and Sunday, it's yellow because of those higher storm chances. I think between Saturday and Sunday looks to be the wetter day. That's thanks to another cold front moving through. You see 4 o'clock Sunday afternoon, some of those showers and storms in Tennessee moving into North Alabama as the evening goes on. This will not be a washout kind of rain Sunday and Monday, just some of those on again, off again showers and storms. And this cold front will be a slow mover. So we are going to keep those rain chances in the forecast for much of your Monday as well. Rainfall totals, unfortunately, we're not going to see a whole lot, but we need any rain we can get at this point. And in general, I think we're talking about 1/4 to 1/2 inch of rain, maybe some slightly higher amounts over 1/2 inch in any of those heavier thunderstorms that develop. But like I mentioned, we need as much rain as we can possibly get. This is the latest update on the U.S. Drought Monitor. Came down this morning, and you're noticing a little bit more yellow across North Alabama. That means we are drying out. And if we go another couple of weeks without significant amounts of rain, we are going to see flash drought conditions develop very, very quickly. Just something to keep in the back of your mind as we go through the rest of the summer months. The summer is trending a little bit drier. 7-day forecast, 97 today. We're going to hover in the mid to upper 90s through Sunday, and then we cool back down to more seasonable temperatures next week, but still in the low 90s.
Well, we have breaking news just into the WAAY 31 newsroom. One man is in jail after police say he stabbed a man to death in Russellville. This all happened at around 10:30 last night off Cotaco Street. Tyler Garrison is now charged with murder. Witnesses saw him in an argument with 42-year-old Richard Davis. Garrison is also facing a few drug charges.
Well, one group of little critters found some fun in the sun. Look at that.
The trio's staying cool at the Oregon Zoo.
11:55 right now. I don't know if you've noticed, but it's pretty hot out there.
Just a little warm.
A little warm.
Well, anyways, this trio found their own way to beat the heat. Look at these little cuties. The Oregon Zoo actually posted this video, thank God, on social media showing these river otters taking a break from those high temperatures and playing in a bucket of ice. The post called them triple rascals on the rocks.
That's cute.
That's cute. And as you can see, these otters, Tilly, Flora, and Hobson, all had a lot of fun.
I wanted to go with my little critter collection at home. So just so you know, not always fun and games. Take a look at this. Some roads in Minnesota literally cracking under the pressure of that heat. Investigators there say pavement roads in that part of the country not designed to withstand this kind of heat. You can imagine that's not just a speed bump there. That would be a launching pad at 70 miles an hour. Nothing like that around here, I'm glad to say.
Yeah, our asphalt can sustain this kind of heat, and goodness, it's a good thing we have that kind of asphalt. 97 today, staying in the mid to upper 90s through Sunday, and then we quote-unquote cool down into the low 90s next week.
Well, for 24/7 coverage, you can count on local breaking news, you name it. Go to our website, WAAYTV.com.
We'll see you back here on WAAY 31 News at 4.